Two clubs with an old rivalry will renew grand final hostilities this weekend, and one of them will win a first RFL premiership. Hello and welcome to the grand final edition of AFL Rfnl. I'm your host Simon Anderson, and joining me at the desk is Pat Killalea from Mangapla and Matt Kennedy from Collingully Footy Club. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Pat, we'll start with you. It's a massive week for the Mangapla club. It has been a long time between premierships. What's the feeling like at the club?
Obviously it's very exciting. I think you start to see all those older heads come back into the club, and there's definitely a lot of hype surrounding this week, and it's good, definitely for all the people behind the scenes who've put in tireless efforts, hours behind the scenes. I think it's just good for them to get this experience.
Matt, Collingully pretty used to grand finals. It's the third straight decider for the club. Is there a different feeling this year to years gone by?
No, it's pretty much the same really. Obviously it's great to be in the grand final. That's what you play for, to play finals footy, especially to play in the grand final. So I guess we're kind of lucky at the moment, but obviously winning one would be a lot better than losing one again. So.
A quick reminder that there is going to be live coverage of all three grades on grand final day. So you can watch Wagga Tigers and Mangapla in the first two games live at home or even on your mobile device at the ground. And the first grade game will also have commentary from Luke Francis and Chris Coleman. Just go to aflriverina.com.au and you'll be directed to the live stream from there. Now, Pat, there's plenty of good footballers to be seen on that coverage. Who should the viewers be watching, and which of your teammates have really impressed you this year?
In particular, definitely Colin Sambrook and Mitch Danaher, two that have really stepped up this year, and I think a lot of the younger blokes too have stepped up. In particular, Hunter Lloyd and Matt Collins is two that spring to mind. I think they're very underrated in the competition, and it's really good to see them have a good year. And I think for Gully, particularly Aiken and the Kennedy boys, are really ones to watch. You
beat them a fortnight ago, but they were without Brad Aiken that day. How much does he factor into your approach to this game?
Yeah, I think he's definitely one to keep an eye on. When he gets his hands on the ball, he's really can use it really well. So I think for us, it's just to really restrict him getting the footy and restricting his damage as much as possible.
A couple of the blokes on your side that you mentioned, Sambrook, Danaher, why are they so important to the Goannas this weekend?
Firstly, just the older experience, I suppose, that they've got, and particularly their hardness around the footy, and I think just the way they use the ball and create those opportunities for us in particular.
Matt, back to Brad Aiken, he seems to get better every year. What have you learnt from playing alongside him and another Quinn medalist in your lineup, Chris Gordon?
Obviously they're two experienced blokes. With Brad, I guess he's a verbal leader. He always helps us, also himself, but us younger blokes, because we're also a pretty young side like Mango. He always helps us before the games, especially like with nerves and stuff, I guess. And he's also one of the leaders on the field also by getting the ball and, opening up the game for us, as well as Gordon. He's the same out of the midfield. I think the midfield battle is going to be pretty crucial, and with Mitch Danaher and Cole Sambrook and blokes like that, I think Chris Gordon's like one of the blokes that has to, step up this week. And yeah.
What about your brothers? It must be a bit of a buzz playing, footy together, especially when you're playing real good footy. Dan was excellent last week against Coolman.
Yeah, I guess it is a bit special in a way, playing with your three older brothers, and all playing first graders also pretty good. But then again, you're playing with your 22 best mates every week, so that's just as important. Playing in the grand final together is what you want to play for, so it's good playing with your brothers, but also your best mates that you're with every week. So
you've had a phenomenal season. These blokes are the only ones to beat you this year, and they have done it twice. Do they have your measure, and what are going to be the big areas of focus going into this week?
Well, I think both sides are pretty similar, where they've got a good mix of both young and old, so I think run's pretty important. I think it was a tremendous effort from them after quarter time, the way they stood up, and their leaders as well as their young blokes stood up and really didn't give up and just kept on pushing through. So I think run's going to be the main factor for both teams. So yeah.
Well, the two clubs appeared at the grand final media conference during the week. Let's have a listen at what they had to say.
Yeah, I think just on a loss, I think a loss can jolt you into action. And as a coach over the years, I think you actually do learn more from a loss. You might think I'm mad by saying that, but actually when you get beat, you've got to really address certain things. You've got to have a look at how you played. Whether we were complacent or not, I'm not sure. We were coming off a week off. Our form had been pretty good. We played pretty well till half time, and we're outplayed after half time, and that's why we had to front up again last week. But yeah, it certainly jolted us into action, and you know, last weekend, luckily for us, we had a second bite of the cherry and we were good enough to get through. So,
Spikes. Oh, if you look at the trend of the AFL at the moment, you're better off giving the opposition a start, aren't you? Everyone's coming back from behind. No, well, look, you've got to play 4 quarters, and that's the bottom line. And it's a grand final. I'd say it's probably going to be tight. It may not be very high scoring. You know, grand finals can be, you know, quite scrappy, quite defensive, and a real, you know, slugfest. So, you know, I don't think you're going to want to let a side kick easy goals at any point in the game. And yeah, so definitely we've discussed our starts, and we want to make sure that we can get a better start.
no, it doesn't concern me. It's obviously going to give Mango a bit of confidence because they know they can do it. But we've also beaten them, and that gives us confidence as well. And whether it was us and Mango or Coolaman and Mango, it's 2 sides playing in a grand final, and the side that fronts up and performs on the day will win the game. Whether it's 2-1 their way during the year or we've won 15 straight, it doesn't matter. Both sides are in a grand final, and that's the exciting part.
It's a big day. It's exciting for the club, and you know it's positive. You know, set out 3 years ago and try and get a club to a position where it's competitive across the board. And netball was probably wasn't even as strong as the footy was at that time. So, you know, it's been great as a collective club to get to where we've gotten to. But it's, you know, it's still about, for us, it's about winning senior premierships. And we had to have a bit of a, I guess, shift at our club where they were pretty heavily focused on resis and 17s for a long time, and probably felt that it wasn't realistic for them to win senior premierships. So that's been a bit of a challenge of mine to shift the focus, and it won't be any different on the weekend. You know, we're playing to win a first grade flag, and to me, you know, whilst I wish all the best for the other grades, and it's very exciting, you know, I've got to make sure that doesn't become a distraction for me and the other players as well. If the other grades are in, we focus on our game and make sure we deliver.
Footy's changed. It's still hard and tough, but all the rivalry and a lot of stuff that used to go on probably had a bit to do with that rivalry, you know. So there's still a rivalry there, but it's nothing compared to what it used to be. The old blokes like to sort of pump it up, but
Yeah.
and that's all great too. So
I don't know. It was strong when I was coming through. Colin Gully and Mangapla were a huge rivalry, so we're talking in the 80s and 90s. And a few of the old guys have sort of brought it up, but I don't think it's relevant. My team have no idea. They don't know it. And I guess that we've never been competitive enough at RFL level for that sort of, you know, those rivalries form from success and playing off in grand finals and, you know, having that repeated history, whereas in recent history we haven't had that. So I found, you know, Colin Gully for us over the last 3 years has probably been the most difficult side that we've had to play. Their list changed a fair bit this year, and ours is, you know, my players have grown up a bit, and so it's probably been a more balanced situation than what it had been in the past. So, you know, it's going to be one of those sort of, as Spark said, and it might not even be who turns up and plays the best in the day. It's who plays best at the right time of the game. You know, we don't know how that's going to play out.
Matt, Shane Lenon is well known as a master motivator. Players say he does get the best out of them. What have been the areas of your game that he's helped with, and what do you think you've improved in?
It's a bit of a tough one, but I guess he does get the most out of myself and everyone just by the way he comes and talks to every single one of the players before the game. He tells you what he wants to improve, like for every single player. So he'll give it a positive feedback, and then he'll just give something on your game you can work on. So he's great for myself but also everyone.
Pat, at the Goannas, it would mean a lot for Nathon Irvin to play in another flag. What's he been like as a coach this season, and what are some of the things that you've learnt under him?
Yeah, no, he's been great ever since he first came to the club. He's always worked on those little 1%ers, those little things that really win the game for you. And I think he's really motivational, and he gets the boys up and about. And I think he'd love the opportunity to get another flag and definitely get a win.
Guys, can we get a tip for best on ground on the weekend? What do you reckon, Matt?
I think it's a close one, sort of depending on who will win, probably Cole Sandbrook or Brad Aiken or even Chris Gordon.
What about yourself, Pat? Who do you reckon?
I think this bloke sitting right next to me has got a very good chance.
Excellent, guys. Well, good luck for the weekend. An absolutely outstanding day of footy out at Narrandera on the way.
Thank you.